independence. However, financial independence is not just a destination, but it is a journey. Anyone who enjoys financial independence has to start from that place. And everyone on earth has the opportunity to go through that process. All right. So if you're here today and your goal is financial independence, it is time for you to start your journey. And the journey to financial independence is in four stages. The first phase, the first stage is financial dependent stage. In the financial dependent stage, that is the sweetest of all stages. At that point, you are depending, relying on someone else. Just like children, children are meant to rely on their parents. They enjoy the abundance that their parents give to them. And like my mentor says when you were a child, you look like your parents. But when you become old, when you become of age, you look like your decisions. So that's the first stage. You depend on others. Okay, you depend on others to be able to get your financial needs. The second stage in the journey to financial independence is the financial solvency stage. Financial solvency stage. This is a stage in which people are excited. Wow, yes, I'm done with school and it's time to make my first money. And with high hopes, great dreams, and then they begin to earn. Well, in these days, things have changed a little, and people really don't need a job to be able to get there. So, but you still find out that children are looking forward to when they begin to make their own money. Even teenagers, they're looking forward to that. And that's the second stage, financial solvency stage, when they begin to make their own money. And everyone starts that process excited and looks like this is going to change my life forever. Then comes the third stage. So I'm talking about the stages of financial independence. The third stage, and what's it about? That is the financial stability stage. The financial stability stage is a stage at which you are more comfortable, all right? You are not desperate for certain things. Your resources, your financial resources, comes at your beck and call. When you need it, it shows up. That is the stability stage. At the stability stage, you have your emergency funds, right? You are probably building an investment. And it's such an interesting one. Then the fourth stage is the financial security stage. At this financial security stage, what happens? Your investments, those that you began to plant at the stability stage, begins to give you returns that can pay your bills. If anything happens and you don't have to work again, you are sorted for life. Now, these are the four stages of financial independence. But may I ask, which of those stages are you? Are you still in the financial dependent stage? Or you have moved to the solvency stage? Or you're now in the stability stage? Now, the truth is, the financial dependence stage is the sweetest because for many people, if they ask you, if you had to turn back the hands, if you could turn back the hands of time, would you still go back to be with your parents? And most people will say yes. They say adulthood na scam. Yeah, but everybody wants to be in that place where they are enjoying, and the life is not really balanced because when you have moved on, you now see, wow, my parents tried, they did everything. That's the sweetest stage. But when you begin to make your money is one interesting stage. And many people begin to realize that as you begin to make the money begins to slip through your hands. That's another one. So people begin to lose money and they are like, the salary is not enough, the money increases, the salary increases, it's still not enough. But many people are not able to transcend from solvency to stability. That's where the deal is. And this applies to people on a job, people earning well, people doing their own businesses, self-employed entrepreneurs, this happens to many people. Yeah. Oh, that one is for rich kid. Okay, so if you are not a rich kid, you will prefer to just let me just push it on. All right. So even if you are not a rich kid, this is a time for you to make that transition from financial solvency stage into the financial stability stage. And a lot is resting on your shoulders. But is it possible? It is possible. If you're here for the first time, my name is Darius Shokumbi. I am your financial clarity coach. And here, this is what we do. We take people, move people from financial chaos to financial stability. So even if you are in the dependent stage or you are in the solvency stage, we can take you through that journey because we have done this for several other people. And we know that this can be that miracle that you're waiting for. All right, so welcome again, everyone. Last week we talked about how to make your resolutions work. And I said, we're going to take it a notch higher today because aside setting your goals, aside making those resolutions, what if you are the one that will stop yourself from reaching that financial goal? Has this ever happened to you? Maybe one day you were driving and you suddenly didn't know what happened. Okay, maybe you parked by the by the road and then the problem was solved, and then the next thing you wanted to do was to start the car. Yeah, you turn on the ignition, and immediately you turned on the ignition. Everything looks okay, but the car refuses to move. And you're like, I mean, then send them come. Or village people are after me. Maybe at this point, everybody that helped you or anybody that helped you is not even around at that point. And you're like, what exactly is the problem? Then you notice that, oh, something must have happened. You went down. I mean, it's happened to me. And that day, I went to the vulcanizer, inflated my tire and all that, moved the car, it wasn't moving, everything was fine. Then later found out that the car was wedged. All right, so there was stone. I mean, you use stone to wedge the car or to shock the car, like they say in this part of the world. And the car isn't moving. Then suddenly, oh yeah, then you just remove the stone. After removing the stone, the car can now pull through. You're like, oh, well, stupid me. I didn't check that. In the same way, many of us run our lives like that, such that our lives can move, has the potential to move, has the potential to achieve great things, but we cannot push it beyond where it is. And that's because there is a wedge, there is a shock that you have applied to the wheels of your life. And through this means, many people sabotage themselves. They stop themselves from advancing. So when people want to move from financial solvency to financial stability, they are the ones that often stop themselves from moving. Self sabotage. Because what it takes to move from financial solvency to financial stability is not hard work. It's not more work. It is knowledge. It's interesting that we all went to school, and through our times in school, we were not taught anything about how to manage the money the school is preparing us to earn. That knowledge is missing. And that's because at that point, every other thing becomes your responsibility to search for it. Knowledge is not cheap. Cheap. Knowledge is not. So to move from solvency, I'm earning a lot, I'm making a lot of money, I'm making money, to stability, to okay, I have peace of mind, and tomorrow is being sorted. To move from that place to this requires knowledge, right? So today I'm going to be talking about that wage. 5 things that people do to stop themselves from moving. You're making money. Yes, awesome. But it's 10 years' time, 20 years' time. It's 20 years' time settled. Do you have peace of mind when you think about the future on this path that you tread? We're going to be talking about self sabotage. How you rob yourself of financial stability, right? That's what we're talking about today. All right. So you can call your friends and let's get started. All right. The first thing that people do, or one of the things, the first thing I will mention this evening that people do to sabotage themselves is enduring a stagnant income. Enduring stagnant income. So if you have been earning the same salary or you've been having the same income in the last 5 years, you are sabotaging yourself. It is not the responsibility of anybody to move you from the 100,000 naira that you were earning 5 years ago to maybe 200,000 naira or maybe more than that. It is not the responsibility of anybody. Today, this afternoon, my wife went to the market and then she got some cereals for the children. And I asked for the cost of that cereal, and then she said it was 50,000 naira. I'm like, wow, that's not the whole meal for everybody in the house. And this is just going to last like 1 month. But I now reminded her about 12 years ago when we were also, when we just, not long after we got married, raising a baby, we were able to survive on 30,000 naira for meals. It was interesting. So just imagine that you were earning 30,000 naira 12 years ago, and then you're still earning the same amount right now. Some people are satisfied with that. Some people earn the same salary for 5 years, the same income for those in business. They have this one special customer that makes business work. And for the last 5 years, for the last 3 years, they stay on that. You are self sabotaging yourself. Apart from telling you what self saboteurs do, I will tell you what self enablers do also. But still on that. Now, this is it. For self enablers, this is what they do. They understand how these things work. Because the truth is, if you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, right? You're in your 20s or 30s, you should ensure that your salary is able to increase within 2 to 3 years. Don't live on the same income for more than 2 to 3 years. Well, that's a global standard, but maybe in a developing country, I could say you should add 1 more year to 3 to 4 years. You should not live on the same income. Yeah, people will say, where's the job? Where's this? Where's that? In one of our classes, I'm going to tell you how to attract the results that you want because these things are possible. Money can be attracted. So if you don't know the system, wait until we get to that class. If you're in your 40s and your 50s, the game is a little different. At that point, income is much more stable. But this is what you want to ensure that within that period, you're earning above your living wage. So, and by living wage, I mean that you're earning more than the money you are required to spend every day. Annually. So let's say that you have an income of 3 million naira and you spend 2 million naira every year. Then your living wage is 2 million naira. So what I'm saying is this: when you get to your 40s and your 50s, you will have you will not your salary will not necessarily, or your income will not necessarily speed up, especially if you're earning salary. So you might earn the same income for say 5 to 7 years. This is the reality. But ensure that after that 5 years, after that 7 years, your income is able to grow, especially for those on a job. But for people in business, you are the one that determines your earnings. So ensure that it is increasing. Right? If your income is stagnant, many times you feel, oh, the income is stagnant, but the truth is your lifestyle is deteriorating. If your income is stagnant, your lifestyle deteriorates until you have no lifestyle at all. If your income is stagnant, your lifestyle deteriorates until you have no lifestyle at all. How do I mean? You remember the example I gave about what happened this afternoon where my wife bought groceries and 50,000 naira just for the children. And 12 years ago, 30,000 naira could cater for the family. If your income is stagnant, you actually lose money. You earn less over the years because inflation eats up the money. So ensure that your income is never ever stagnant. Ensure whatever you can do. In one of our classes, we'll talk more about how to attract that income that you want. Now, for enablers, for self enablers, they actually look forward to earning more. They do everything they can do. If they have to change jobs, they change jobs. If they have to move countries or move cities, leave Ondo to Lagos or leave Ebonyi to Lagos, if they have to do that, they understand they have to make that move because your environment will definitely limit you. So, what were you earning last year? Is it the same as what you earned this year? If it is less, then that means you have to call for emergency. You have to begin to do something about it. Don't sit on your horse. Don't sit on your horse. Right. So, what are some of the situations that should let you know that you need to increase your income? Number one, yes, if your responsibility suddenly increases, right? You were not married before, now you're married. You should know that this is the time to increase your income. And you need to begin to do everything to make sure that that income does not stay the same. Right? Some people say that children come with the resources they need on earth. I don't believe that. I don't believe it because God gave us children so that they can depend on us. We are required to seek to get the resources to be able to raise them. So, what are you doing about your income now that your responsibilities are more? Right? Another reason, another pointer to the fact that you need an increase in your income is if inflation rises like it did in the last couple of years, where you have 35%, 36% inflation. And you know that those numbers were actually just a sum total of the inflation because they were food that went 50%. When you have such kind of things happening, high inflation, you need to ensure that your income increases. You need to ensure that your income increases. Maybe you change a job, maybe you add something else to the business you're doing. You need to pursue that aggressively. All right. So, another thing is this: if you're on a job and then you hear that promotion is coming, then you need to brace up for it and do everything. Don't ever miss a promotion. Don't miss a promotion, especially if you have spent like 2 or 3 years on a position, if you're in your 20s and 30s, right? So, but this is it. By the time you have to negotiate for a promotion at work, understand that you cannot place inflation on the front burner as a reason for you to be promoted. You cannot place your obligations in the front burner as a reason for you to be promoted. What do you then place on the front burner? Your performance. Your performance. Like I always say, Life does not reward you because of the number of years you have spent. If not, many people will be rich. People that have spent 10 years, 20 years, 50 years on earth will be richer than you. But life rewards you based on the results. Based on the problems you solve. Solve problems, you get rewarded. So, it's the problems you solve at work that will be on the front burner. You want to get another job, not the economy. No, that's a lame way of negotiating. It's the things that you have achieved over the years. Another thing that self saboteurs, okay, another thing they do is they have an unbridled spending lifestyle. They can't control their expenses. They don't control what they spend. So sometimes you find out that they are going to market. They don't have an idea of what they are going to spend. They did not plan for it. They spend without limits. If you're spending without limits, without budgets, you will spend your life and you will spend your future. You will spend your future, sorry. You will spend your future. How do I mean? Instead of you putting money aside for investment, you just go to the market and then anything that appeals to you, you buy. There were some cases in which my kids, went with me maybe to a supermarket or something, and then they begin to point at everything. When it first happened, I really didn't know how to handle it. But some other time, before going to the market, I already told them, this is what we are buying. Yeah, there are times in which I would say, okay, pick something, pick one thing. Yes, there were times like that, but then before leaving home, I had already planned for it. If I don't plan for it, this is what we're buying. Don't spend without limits, spend with budget. You sabotage yourself if you have an unbridled spending lifestyle. You don't control your spending. Somebody comes to your house and then you're like, oh, okay, I have to make this person happy. I have to make this person comfortable. There was a story. There was a story. I heard about this story. It said there were two siblings. So the first one got married and he wasn't doing so well financially. So the mom will come visiting. And then at that point, what they will do is this: himself and the wife, they will gather everything they have had. Even if they have to borrow, they will borrow and do all that to be able to host the mother. Right? So the mother will have a great, great time in their house. And she would say, these children have money, but they are not helping me. So at that time, the second son wasn't married yet. To say, they have money, but they are not taking care of me and all that. When I got to their house, I ate the best of the best. But when I'm here, they don't send to me, but they were just trying to host the mother. By the time the second child got married, he was even now doing quite well. But what he told his wife, he said, my experience, based on my experience, we cannot host mommy very well. We will always make her see or feel that we don't have as much. So when the mom goes there, they will say, mommy, this is the last soup, this is that. And you know what the mom will do? She will keep praying for them. You see, you cannot impress people all your life with the resources you have. You can't keep impressing people, right? And you need to be comfortable in your skin and to be able to plan your life. Whether you are doing so well or you are not doing so well, it's a matter of time. People will still forget about you. The truth is, anybody that is not able, that does not have the capacity to give you the kind of money or the kind of support they require that you give to themselves, should not be the one you are trying to impress. Most of the people we are trying to impress really don't care, because when you don't have, they are able to move elsewhere. I am not saying you should treat your parents wrongly. In fact, I am against it. I am just trying to explain that you have no reason to impress people and then spend anyhow for them. So, self saboteurs are people that spend lavishly. I mean, they spend impulsively, they spend without a plan, right? They don't have a financial goal. And even if they have a financial goal, they don't follow it, it doesn't matter. By the first, second month, they are gone. They are not even thinking about it. And even if they have to set financial goal, they set what is comfortable for themselves. Another thing that self-saboteurs do in, I mean, with unbridled spending is that they spend based on emotions. And this especially applies to people that are even doing quite well financially. So when they are emotional, they spend more. Let's say they are bored. That's when they go to Jumia or whatever and then look for something and then pick on it. These are self-saboteurs. Some of them, when they're excited, there are some of your friends that that once they're excited, just go and ask anything, they will do it, especially when they have just collected salary. In this way, you sabotage yourself because you're supposed to be saving, you're supposed to be investing at that time. Self-saboteurs don't budget. But going to the market, you do not have a plan of how much you want to spend. At the beginning of the month, you don't have a plan. Some people don't even know how much they spend in a month. This is a self sabotaging habit. But financial enablers do the opposite of these things. They budget, they set goal, they do not. In fact, if they want to even spend based on their emotion, the money is not there. The money is not there because they have already invested it and channeled it to the right sources. The bad part about unbridled spending is that it leads to debt accumulation. Some people will have to borrow to be able to support a friend. I've heard this, or support a family, and it's not an health matter. It's not a life and death matter. All right. It also leads to financial instability. You're unable to also care for the people you claim to love. Then the future is bleak. And what you discover is that the more the age, okay, I agree. When the money has been invested, there is no room for impulse spending. That's right. That's just what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So you find out that self saboteurs begin to work harder as they age. They begin to work harder as they age because everybody always have a shot at wealth. God is not wicked. We always say here that in every income you make, there is a seed to set you financially free. If you don't sow it, you don't reap the benefits. No matter how much you earn, there is a seed in it that can set you financially free. Start sowing it. Start sowing it. One day, you will be able to reap that harvest. Unfortunately, I will not be able to talk about the 5 things I want to talk about. But let me give you one more, and then we'll be done for this evening. Another thing self saboteurs do is that they do not have any buffer of any form. Anything happens, there is no covering for them. And in one of our classes, we say savings is the way you protect yourself and your family. They don't have savings. If you're here and you do not have savings of any kind, you are sabotaging yourself. Self enablers always save. They have money locked up somewhere for emergencies. They invest, right? Because not saving is like being a farmer, right? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You see, there is a seed in every income we make that can set us financially free. Thank you, Nikki, for that. All right. So do not earn without planting a seed. I said it's like a farmer that is expecting for expecting the rains that has just, I mean, after an harvest. You are like a farmer that has planted and harvested, and now you're expecting another rain. Your income is like those seeds that you have harvested. And then what did you do? You ate everything. Anyone that eats a seed during all his seeds during the harvest will have nothing to sow. It would have to beg. So what you find out is this: even though some of these self-saboteurs may be earning so well, they beg during emergencies. They beg. They don't have enough during emergencies. All right. And remember, we said that your emergency savings is 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. Sometimes it may look like I am talking so much about emergency savings, but I know the things that it has rescued me from and the things it can rescue you from. I know what happened when I never had emergency, how it looked, and the things, the realities that happened. Some people would expect that at that point, other people should come forth for them. Unfortunately, sometimes people don't come forth for them. And it might not necessarily be that they don't want to support you. Sometimes they also do not have. How many of you have been stranded and found no one to help you? Guys, you need to be a self enabler. Enable yourself to do the things you want to do the way you have to do it. Store up something for yourself. Store up something for tomorrow. Once we were financially dependent, depending on our parents, and maybe that time our parents made a lot of mistakes. And looking back, even when they had the shot at wealth, the door that God opened for them, they could not maximize it because they do not have the information. But you, what will be your excuse? So, guys, don't sabotage yourself. As we go into the new month, the month of February, choose not to sabotage yourself. If you've listened to this or you've just watched this and you are not in our money challenge, the money challenge is going to help you so that you do not sabotage yourself. You want to go through that process, we're going to leave a link in the description below that you can follow, and then you know all these things. I mean, you can be part of our community where you learn how to live without sabotaging yourself. So, next week, we are going to be talking about 3 other things that people do to sabotage themselves. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about is the financial martyrdom. You don't want to miss it next week because many people also fall into that. So, I want to thank everyone that's part of this today. I hope that you learned a couple of things. And the truth is, this really matters to us that you're watching us. Therefore, we look forward to another time next week where we extend the conversation of self sabotage. All right. Until then, you have a pleasant time. See you in February and happy new month in advance.